don't want to take up all the film with me talking. I want to record Devin. Okay, so basically, bought my first house in the 80s, sold it. Back then I bought it in the 80s. I bought that house at 12% interest. Anybody ever remember when the interest rates were 12%? I do. Eric might. Eric's a little bit older, not as old as me, but
41.
yeah, he's a lot younger. He's like 20 years younger than me. I'm 62, man. So you don't remember.
No.
You were probably still in diapers. So basically, yeah, I bought my first house VA loan, 12% interest. Mingo, I had no clue what I was doing. I'm like, okay, I'll sign whatever. It's no money down. Now today, 12%, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have waited. Like most people, I had no clue. So I bought that house. We lived there for a few years. We had 7 kids, got the new house. And then 2007, 2008, the prices went way up. We got a HELOC. We bought our first rental property in 07. And then what happened in 08? I didn't care. I got a HELOC, I paid cash for it. My value of my house went up. I got a lot of equity. I didn't care, because when you have rental properties, you don't care if the property values go down as long as you're getting your rent. If you're a flipper, you care. If you're a buy and holder like me, I'm not a flipper, I'm a buy and holder. I'll do an easy flip, but I'm a buy and holder. I'm in for the long run, right? So basically the 12% that won't scare me today neither. You can refinance, right? So I got into wholesaling in 2018, and I hired several coaches over the years. My first coach was 40 grand out of Utah. Not bad, didn't know Florida laws. Whenever I asked for a contract, he said, get a Florida lawyer, I don't know. Turns out they got sued. The feds shut them down.
Who was it?
Honey, who was that lady? Hillary?
Farr?
My wife went with me. Hillary Farr, she has that fix and flip show. She has that accent.
I love it listed.
Love It or List It?
Yeah.
It was her. It was her. Yeah, so what she did was, my wife and I, we had like an 830 credit score. We had credit cards with no balance, and we put the whole 40 grand on our credit cards. This is how they get you. I'm warning you guys, in case this happens to you, they sit you on a desk. Now, I didn't plan on talking about this, sorry, Devin, but they're gonna sit you behind a desk and they're gonna say, how's your credit? Oh, good, okay, look, we got this company that'll give you credit cards with 0% interest for a year. They gave us like 3 credit cards at 0% interest for a year, and we put the program on that 40 grand. The guy didn't teach me nothing. The one thing I learned from that guy, one thing that I'll never forget, is when I go to a seller and he says he wants 50 grand, and I said, yeah, I was doing a mock with him, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it. He goes, no. You don't want to sound excited to a seller. If they give you a lowball price, don't sound excited. Try to even go lower. So if you're ever negotiating with a seller, and it's a $300,000 house, and they want 100 grand, see if they can do 90. Why? Now again, I didn't plan on saying this.
Seller's remorse.
Because you don't want them to think that they're giving it away, because they're going to have seller's remorse, like Devin said. Devin will probably cover all this anyway. So basically, you don't want them to you don't want them to know that you know you're getting a smoking hot deal, right? It's all psychology. I study, I read, I work on myself every day. Since that coach in Utah, I hired a coach in Boca, 30 grand. That was in 2020. He helped me a little bit. I didn't do any deals under his tutelage. Then I hired Brent Daniels. Who knows Brent Daniels? Devin knows Brent. I hired Brent, cheapest coach I ever hired, learned the most from him because most of my marketing is cold calling. Then after Brent Daniels, I hired Jamil Damji, triple digit flip, Astro. He's my current coach now. Now, last Friday, after talking to my friend Mingo, Jose Cana there, he is a sub-2 student, and him and his lovely new wife told me how they're hitting it with the sub-2, and I said, I'm signing up, and I did. And I've learned so much in the last week. You were right. I learned more in 1 week about subject 2 than I thought I knew. I thought I knew it all. I didn't. I had all the contracts. I know about the disclosures, but the program, it was only a lousy $8,800. But what I'm going to make for that, I got a friend of mine. I said, hey man, I signed up for another coach. It's $8,800. She's a broker. You know what she said to me? Oh, $8,800. Oh. I'm like, what? It's $8,800. I'm like, don't look at what you're paying. Look at what you're going to get from it. Look at your return on your investment. I'm going to make more than that on the first deal I get. And I'm already working a deal, a duplex deal. So basically, so now I currently have 4 coaches. I got the Astro coach, Jamil. I got Pace. I got a realtor coach, because I'm a realtor too. I have a realtor coach that my broker paid for. If you guys are looking for a good broker, let me know. My girl is amazing. She was on my buyer's list before I even became a realtor. She's a buyer. And then I told her, look, I'm thinking about being a realtor. She's like, come to my brokerage. I interviewed her. You know why I'm pausing? Most people will say, what do you mean you interviewed her? Don't brokers interview you as a new agent? No. I interviewed her. I interviewed Keller Williams. They thought they were interviewing me. Matt. I said, I'm a wholesaler. I do 30, 40 deals a year. I'm going to bring something to the table for your organization. What do you have for me? The Keller Williams lady said, well, we'll take 30% of your commission. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. But we get all this training. I'm like, I kind of know what I'm doing. Yeah. But then Nydia was like, we only take we don't need to take a percentage. If it's like 200 grand, it's like 800 bucks. If it's like 800,000, it's like 1,300. So it's like a flat fee based on, and I've done listings. So I got my license because I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to Eric and I say, I want to buy your beautiful house in Boca. And he's going to say, but I just put a new pool in, I just put a new roof, I just redid the kitchen, it's 50 grand. And I'm like, Eric, I'm a licensed agent, I could list it for you. I just converted a wholesale deal to a listing. So if you're a wholesaler, get your license. It's easy. Don't let nobody drop an anchor in your head saying it's hard. Donovan's license, Keith's license, there's a lot of licensed people here, Tito's license. Was it hard, guys?
No.
Was it hard?
Took the test 9 times.
If you got to take it, look,
I took it 4.
don't feel bad. If you got to take it 6, 7, who
You
cares?
only got to pass it once.
Take it as many times. Don't let failure, no, don't get me started. Don't let failure stop you from succeeding, because you're going to fail. The people that succeed are the ones that understand that failure is just understanding that you have to redo it a different way. Albert Einstein failed with the electric light bulb hundreds of thousands of times, I'm told. But he doesn't see this failure. He says he just didn't get it right those hundreds of thousands of times. He figured it out. Okay, so those are my coaches, and I also have another coach that I hired online. It's like this master class, and it's like a lousy $300 a year, but you have access to people like the guy that owns Virgin Airlines, Chris Voss. I've been studying. Chris Voss is teaching me a class on negotiating. That I've learned more on Chris Voss's class than I learned from that $40,000 coach in Utah.
Black Swan Group, right?
Black Swan. And the guy that started Virgin, he explains how he started the whole thing. I mean, you want to know how to cook? This masterclass thing, they have all these people, writers, they got public speakers, teach you. It's incredible. My point is, the reason everyone's here is because you want to improve yourself, right? You want to make more money. You want to be happier, healthier, better relationships. It all starts with your head, how you think, and it all starts with working on yourself. If you work harder on yourself than you do in your job's going to take care of itself. Most of you kids in this room, I got children your age. My youngest is 27, my oldest is
37.
30, thank you, 37. So most of you guys could be my kids, right? And I wish I had an old guy like me. I don't feel well, I feel like I'm 18, but chronically I'm 62, but I feel like I'm 18. If I had a 62-year guy telling me when I was 18 sitting on that chair, the stuff I would be listening, because even at my age, if I'm talking to an 83-year-old guy, I'm like this. Because you know, old people like to talk. And I'm like this. And I'm like this. Because now you're shortening your learning curve. Right, Julie? You learn from older people. I'm serious. Julie's like one of the youngest people here. She's 20. Thank you for coming, Julie. I think she came from Miami. She came from Miami, didn't she? She came all the way from Miami, okay? 20 years old. In 2 years, I want her to tell me she has a rental portfolio, she has at least 300 or 400K in the bank, and she's got a business and people working for her. If she keeps coming to these meetups and connects with people like me and Devin and Mingo, Keith, and everybody else in this room, you get everybody's numbers. Some people don't have business cards, that's okay. Get everybody's number before you leave. My friend Gina came all the way from Miami. I met her at an event in Miami where I was talking to Mingo about Sub 2. She was there. I said, hey, I got a meetup. Come to my meetup. You're not going to regret it, because the person that's going to speak now is incredible. Personal friend of mine. We've done several deals together. Great guy. Came all the way from Utah. He's going to drop some golden nuggets. Devin Hager. A little bit. I normally don't ramble that bad. Honey, you're supposed to keep me from rambling.
10 more seconds.
See, my wife normally. I'm getting better. You should have seen me in the beginning. I used to ramble a lot in the beginning, right, Donovan? I'm toning it down now. Let me make sure we're still going here. Okay, I'm going to start the PowerPoint for you. I got you. Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Forgive me for my voice. I've been on a 9-day virus thing that I'm trying to get through. I feel great, but my voice sucks, so just bear with me.
Okay. Points.
So as Rich is pulling that up, I'm not selling anything. I'm not trying to offer coaching or any of that stuff. I'm here to share how my business breaks down and what's got me to be successful and relationships and all that stuff. So,
Okay.
Okay,
I think
perfect.
we're good.
Awesome.
Do you want me to dim the lights?
No, this is fine.
That's good? Okay.
Again, my name is Devin Hager. Originally, I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. I actually live in Utah, so I run my market virtually. I wholesale in Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie County. Brian Weidman, that's sitting right here, he's a good-looking dude with the gray shirt. He is my acquisition manager, so he's my boots on the ground. I've owned my business for a year and a half. So I've been in real estate. I started in real estate in 2015, September of 2015. And yeah, I was an acquisition manager for a real estate brokerage / investor. So we bought most of our properties at the time of the market. So when I was in Utah, it's now one of the per capita, it's one of the highest priced homes in the market in the country right now, or was before things started trickling down with the market. So back then in 2015, I could go on the MLS and there was over 500 homes listed for under $200,000. And today, there's zero. So I got started a really good time. I worked for them. So the company is called Blue Mountain. I worked for them for 3.5 years. And then about 2 years in, we started buying properties in Dallas, Texas. So we developed a relationship with a realtor and a brokerage down there. We did direct mail and web marketing and all that stuff. And so I was negotiating and doing deals in Utah and in Texas. So, and now I did that until April of 2019. And I decided to seek out other opportunities. I feel like I hit my ceiling with where I was at. It wasn't a great environment to be in. And so I called one of the guys that I had done deals with. I called this wholesaling group. They're called Utah Sell Now. So the owners were Mark Stuber and Cody Hoffine. So Mark Stuber and Cody Hoffine actually learned from Tom Kroll, who's in the Port St. Lucie market. And so I called them to see if they had an opening. I said, hey, look, and I wholesale and I do deals in Texas. I know the market there. They're like, that's perfect, Devin. We actually started a franchise model, and that is Joe Homebuyer. So it was like we're looking to open up other markets. So we have one other market, and that was in Salt Lake. So there was 2 franchises. So I opened up the 3rd franchise as their general manager in Dallas, Texas. So I worked for them as their general manager from 2019 until May of 2021. And then I decided that I had hit my ceiling again, and I had 2 options. 1, I can go out on my own, or 2, I could buy a franchise from Mark and Cody. And I chose to buy a franchise from them because they're my mentors. They're some of my best friends, and they run multiple 7-figure businesses. So they're the people I wanted to have a continue my relationship with and use the tools that they can provide me to become not just a successful wholesaler, but to run a successful business as well. So what got me introduced, and just kind of a little bit about me. So growing up, I was a baseball player. I played 1 year of college baseball at Salt Lake Community College in Utah. The goofy guys that you see riding with helmets and name tags, those are the missionaries you probably see riding around all the time. I was one of them. That's how I got introduced to the Florida market. I did my 2-year church mission in Orlando, and one of the areas I served was Stuart, Florida. And I was there for 7.5 months, and I always had a goal that I wanted to do real estate in Florida. So, and that's me and my wife in the far picture. The reason I show these strings is that these 3 things have been pivotal to my success in life. Like, I invested and worked really hard to be a successful baseball player. I spent 2 years as a missionary talking to people about God, which I can tell you real estate is way easier after you've knocked on thousands of doors to say, hey, do you want to learn a message about Jesus Christ? And then my wife is actually a fitness coach, and fitness and exercise is really important to me, my wife, and we go to the gym together every day except for Sunday. And so just the consistency of all these things have helped me get to where I am today. So, and this is my family. So I've been married to my wife 10 and a half years. That's my 6-year-old daughter, Eliza, on the left, and that's my son, Bo. We adopted him. He is 3 years old now. We adopted him from the Marshall Islands. It's a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. There's about 50,000 of them in the entire world. And he's a big pain in the ass, but he's the best kid. So I can tell you, I guess it flips, and Rich, it's opposite, right? Boys are really hard at the beginning, and then girls are easy, but they flip when they get older, right?
When girls start dating,
Yeah,
watch out. I got 5 daughters.
Yeah, and my wife has been an amazing support. She was planning on being here tonight, but she was not feeling well. So we traveled from Utah, like I said. So just so you guys know, I run my market virtually. I live in Utah full time. This is the 7th time this year that I've been to Florida. So I'm only down here once every couple of months, and I'll break down my business model and how I do everything to run a successful business. So Brian has been an amazing help to me to grow it. So yeah, my team. So pretty small team. So like I said, Brian's my acquisition manager. So when I decided to start a franchise, I put an ad out to find an acquisition manager immediately because I knew I needed boots on the ground. And I actually came to Florida I came to Florida every other week for about 6 months, my first 6 months of my business. But I found Brian, I think he's either Monster.com or Indeed, and Brian had good sales experience, and I feel like he talked with Mark Stubler, one of the owners of Joe Homebuyer, who's hired hundreds of people, and he talked with Brian and thought he'd be a good fit, so I chose to go with Brian, and been very grateful for that. I just have one virtual assistant that pulls data for me through counties to generate leads, and then I hire a company called Call Geeks. I should probably put that in there. Callgeeks.com. They're a company that hires out cold callers out of Egypt. And I've been using them since May of this year, and I've been getting, it's only $1,300 a month that I've been averaging a contract a month so far. Wow. So it's very cheap, and yeah, they've been a good source. You have to really monitor them and manage them to make sure that they're sending you quality leads, because they're sending, yeah, go ahead.
What was the virtual assistant?
His name's Ben Millar. So Ben created an algorithm where he can pull all the data from counties. I pay him about $400 a month, but he gives me about 50 addresses a day that go from probate to code violation to pre-foreclosure to.
Did you find a good company?
Yeah, so I actually used to work with him, and then he started this company. So, but if you want his info, I can get that to you. So, yep. So that's kind of a breakdown of my team. We're a pretty small team. I'm the owner, obviously, Brian, and so this is basically my setup. So these are the numbers. I'm very transparent on my business. I'm not going to, like as Rich has shared, there's a lot of fluff. He paid $40,000 to a lady that probably makes a lot of money, but I bet you she makes more money coaching and teaching people how to do real estate than actually doing real estate. So, so I've done 52 total contracts this year. About half of them have closed. And so we've just done over $700,000 in revenue. So our average assignment fee for closed deals is $25,925. And that includes flips and wholesale deals. And so I've done 20 wholesale deals and 7 flips. So out of those. So yeah, this has been my first full year. My first 6 months, I did $120,000 in revenue. So I was barely getting by. And
wait a minute, you were barely getting by and you made $120,000 in 6 months. Who wants to make $120,000 in 6 months? When you're spending
$15,000 a month in marketing and you have your expenses at home, that's barely getting by. So when you're about $25,000 out the door, including your personal and business expenses, that's barely getting by. So yeah. So what I did to kind of break that down, so in November of last year, so just over a year ago, So I was doing web marketing, I was doing cold calling, I was doing mail, and I'll go over those things. My biggest thing is my mail was not consistent. And so what was happening is that I didn't utilize the system that I had. So I used batch leads so that's where all my leads go into, all of our driving for dollars, all of our addresses and people from county records, pre-foreclosure, bankruptcy list, lien list, all those things. I wasn't stacking my lists. And I wasn't mailing these people like you want to hit these people once every 5 to 6 weeks. So it was very sporadic. I just put a list together of 5,000 people, so I was just throwing money out the window. So I sat down with the vice president, her name's Janet, she's a good friend of mine. I sat down with her and I said, help me. So she helped me fix my mailing list. 3 weeks later, I get a deal, makes $40,000. And a week later after that, I get another deal, makes me $20,000 just from direct mail. So, and that really helped me get the ball rolling for my direct mail. So that's what we'll go over next. So I've done 20 total contracts, 12 of them closed. I did over $426,000 in total revenue just from direct mail. I send about 5,000 postcards a week. So that's been my most profitable. And one seller from that revenue made over $148,000 in revenue. And it's from 2 vacant lots that we bought and sold in Stewart. So the deal I had to make with the seller at the time, this was in April, he said, I need my attorney to review the contract.